What's going on, everybody? Finally, it's time where I get to show you guys exactly what we've been working on. And without further ado, my baby girl. It's been, I want to say, a year of me taking this kayak from a regular, cheap, Dick's Sporting Goods kayak to tricking it out with the dumbest shit possible, getting it registered at the DMV so I could put an electronic motor with a remote control on it. And today's the day where I'm gonna go over everything that we did, all the modifications we made, step by step, and have y'all take a look through what I've been working on. And also today's the day where we're gonna hopefully try it out on the water for the last time, where it'll actually fucking float. But we're gonna go through everything, and as I show you guys what we've been working on, I'll explain some of the trials and errors that I've had out here off camera. Hopefully we could get this video taken care of. This is a kind of a popular spot for smaller craft to launch from on Lake Ida, so we might get some people coming through. But hopefully we have some time to ourselves to be able to go through this whole thing. But that's my baby girl, and let's get to setting her up. Find anything more beautiful? Literally just like a hollowed out baby coconut. That's how we're starting the day. I like it. All right, guys, so one of the first things I'm gonna show you actually is something I got online from a YouTube video. Someone actually 3D printed these, so I don't know if you can see them real too good on the chest mount, but these are actually custom fit for this kayak, 3D printed to fit. It's to raise the seat, the height of the seat. So let me show you how my seat would normally go in here. All right, so this is the foldable chair that goes into the fishing kayak. This is a sit on top fishing kayak, and you have kind of two locations to put it. So these need to be stretched out a little bit. Last time I was in here, I was struggling, so. All right, let's make it more laid back. So you have position one, where essentially you're sitting upright. So if you guys can see on the chest mount camera, we have these back legs sitting in this top position. But we also have, get my second camera over here. Hello. Okay, so we have this top mount where the kayak chair can sit up, and now we're sitting straight up in the chair, and these legs click right into this hole here. You can see on that side, they click right into there. Then you have like a lay down position where the back will drop down there and then tilt up to that second hole position. So what I found online through a YouTube video, which thank you for whoever came up with this or made this, you are the f***ing man, are these little guys. These are little 3D printed lifters that slide right into place. Now they fit tight as fuck. That's one thing I will say. It's like damn near impossible to get them back out once you get them in. And it's fun having to do that every time, but you know what? To give me that little bit of height, it's so worth it. So these pop, I don't know if you can see right there, these just pop right in place. Let me take one out. And these just are gonna slide right in to where the seat would normally click into. So let's get that in there. Pop that in place like so. And like I said, they fit super fucking tight in there, so it's kind of trippy. And then these other ones, I don't know if you can see that on the chest rig, these little guys go onto the back legs of the chair here. So pop them on like that, and there's like an Allen key too at the top here. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but that little Allen key, I've never tightened it, but I would assume that's just to tighten it to like kind of lock these in place, but I've never needed it. For real, I just go ahead and pop the front legs in first, which again, this shit is so like, when you talking about 3D printed to fit, you must use good quality material, because I probably popped this in and out 100 times. I've never had an issue. and then just stand the legs up back there, and that's it. And now it doesn't seem like much, but that little bit of lift that this has given the entire setup is so fucking well worth it. You know, it's only just a few inches higher that you're sitting, but to be able to have that comfortability on a kayak is fucking fantastic. So that's the first thing we're gonna take a look at. And I'm just gonna go through things as we just set up the kayak. And of course, another one of my favorite things in the world, that goddamn cup holder. Yak Hacker, it just fits right into the track mount. You slide it in place and then you twist it down to tighten up, and that is beautiful, just to be able to have my coffee there. All right, I think the next thing we're gonna pop into place as we go through the setup. I actually haven't installed this yet, but if you can see, I already have a product from these guys on the other side. Maybe I should start with that first, actually. So this is from a very well-known kayaking company called Yak Attack. They make great shit, but it is a bit expensive. If you can find alternatives, there's alternatives that are much cheaper, but like I said, the quality of the shit that they build is awesome, and it's made specifically for kayaks. So on most kayaks, you're gonna have a track mount, which is right here. And on that track mount, if you could see over on that other side there, over here, I have this little guy. That is this. And what this is, at the bottom you have the normal kind of T-fitting for a track mount. Let me see if I'm doing this right. Yeah, there you go. All right, so yeah, you're gonna take this, and just how that one's positioned, you're just gonna kind of, you know what, I'm actually gonna move my cup out of here. You're gonna take that little T-bolt there, and you're just gonna slide it in place. Now you wanna line up, see these lines here, you wanna be in line with the T-bolt, and that's gonna kind of hold it in place. Loosen that up, slide it right in, all the way to the back, and then you just tighten it. So once this is tightened down, give it a good tighten. These things basically never need to be moved again. They're amazing. So you have that, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with my cup holder. Just slide that right into place and tighten it right down. Now, have the rod holder I'm gonna put over on my left side. And how this works is you have a little locking mechanism here. So I don't know if you can see that latch on the inside there. Put my camera down so I can make sure that you're seeing it. That latch on the inside, it completely unlocks this. So once that's open, you could just go ahead and pop that right into where you need it. Let's say I want to position it like that, and then lock into place. And so once you have that popped into place, that same latch that opens it right here, you're gonna push it in instead of pulling it out. So once you push it in, you could push in, push up, and now you can adjust and turn whatever you need in and out. So that's the fishing rod holder, and we're gonna do the same thing with the phone holder. And this again is from Yak Attack, same type of device, same type of deal. You have that inner lever that's gonna open it, okay? And then you just pop baby in place and close it. And if you want to turn and adjust it, I'll move my cup holder up a little bit. You want to turn and adjust, you push in, and you can turn and adjust and lock it into different positions there. And that's good like that, right there. And then a little swivel ball head, tighten that up where you like it, and you're good to go. So that's gonna hold my phone. It comes with this nice little leash so your phone never falls. And it has these kind of like roller grips that are a little weird to get used to, but really cool once you find out how they work. This is, if you will, the pièce de résistance. This has been the hardest shit I probably had to do on this kayak. This is installing a wireless trolling motor with a remote control. This went through so many different trials and errors. There was times where I was about to cry because I thought I've destroyed this kayak, or I've just spent a whole bunch of money on shit that's not gonna work. And today's the day we actually find out if it's finally gonna work. So first things first, this kayak only has access to the interior of the kayak from the front side, from the front hatch where you store shit, and it's not much space. So when I first got the trolling motor and had the idea to put a battery and a motor on here, the idea was I didn't know how to get inside the back because there's no access other than from the front. So I installed, first I got a mount. That's the first thing we had to do, is get a mount to be able to mount the motor onto the kayak. That was a pain in the ass because finding the right size mount for this type of motor was a bitch. A lot of them were too small, or the brackets themselves didn't fit on the front of the kayak. Then we finally got this bad boy. Now this bad boy was the only one that had a skinny enough bracket that it was able to get mounted onto the kayak, whether it be the front or now the back where it's finally at. But the problem with this was the plate that it originally came with was super tiny. And it didn't fit the whole motor. So I finally found something that bracketed properly to the kayak, but it wasn't a big enough plate to fit the motor. So, and to give you even more story, the first time we took it out on the water and even tried it out, the plate was so small that the engine ended up coming off of the motor while I was moving. It sank. The wires, electrical cords started snapping, pop, 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 to the battery. And thank God I had bought some Velcro, which was holding on for dear life, holding the battery down. Because if not, both my motor and the battery that I bought would have been at the bottom of Lake Ida on day one, without question. I saw this entire motor just sink to the floor of the lake. It was spinning. It was still on. It was still moving. I was panicking. I didn't have time to like shut it off. And if I can't see the motor, I can't tell if it's off. It was a fucking nightmare. I literally grabbed it by the battery cords and slowly pulled up until the motor was like up and out of the water, and it's still just going, spinning. And I had to shut it off and finally just retrieve my motor, throw it on, and then paddle back to shore. So it has been fun. So we had the motor at first on the front. When the mount was too small, the first idea I had, I got a friend to weld a bigger plate onto the back. So we got a big enough plate to properly hold the motor. I had to weld the plate onto the back, and if you guys can actually see here, you can see it's just welded metal there. I took mechanic pads. These are like foam pads for mechanics to kneel on when you're working on a car. So I took these foam pads and I put these on here to give it some type of like grip. So I'm not just, the kayak motor isn't mounted onto here with no type of grip. So we have these foam pads. We also bought some washers and screws to put through the original holes that were there to hold the foam pads into place. Now the only thing I still need to do really to just kind of clean this up is chop these screws off and lock them in place at an even level. This way they're not just sticking up at a pad like that, but something's better than nothing. This has been a work in progress for real. So this was all in the front originally. Now the problem with having it in the front, I'm going to show you guys very clearly. Kayaks have something called scupper holes. I don't know if you can see those holes there and there. Now the purpose of these scupper holes is so when you're paddling or whatever you're doing, water is inevitably going to get up and into the kayak. And the goal is that as you're floating, the water should drain out through those holes. Okay, so no water should be coming in, all the water should be draining out. So I had that originally, and you could actually see the old holes where I had this mounted at 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we had it mounted up front here, and the problem with having it mounted up front was that the motor itself, hanging off the front of the kayak, was pushing water because the propellers are spinning. It's pushing water that way, and it's shoving the water up in through the scupper holes. So imagine me going any type of speed. The faster I go on the engine, the more water's being pushed up in through these holes, and I was completely sinking on the fucking lake. I got probably almost completely across the lake. I want to say one of their houses over there. I was completely across the lake when this started to happen. I was actually at the center of the lake and had to make it over to that side because I was too far from this dock. Everything was going lovely until I saw the amount of fucking water that started to build up out of nowhere. And I quickly realized that it's because the motor's on the front and it's pushing water up in through the scupper holes, and it's basically sinking myself. Every time I use the motor, it's pushing water in and I'm sinking. So that was a very fun experience. Very quickly, it taught me that I'm going to have to move the motor from the front of the kayak to the back of the kayak, because the front of the kayak is going to sink me. Well, the first thing I tried was scupper plugs. I tried putting scupper plugs in, which are little plugs that go in those holes to stop the water from coming up. It definitely didn't help. Just the force of the motor pushing water up, it wasn't good. Plus, I had a lot of weight on the front of the kayak and it felt very unstable. So then we finally found a way to mount it to the back. Now, my original problem with mounting it to the back was, how the fuck am I gonna bolt these screws down from underneath? I found something called anchor bolts, and anchor bolts are basically for drywall and things of that nature, and they're bolts that have a little V-clip in them. So you put this V-clip in through the hole, you drill a hole into something, and then you could put the bolt with the V-clip in through that hole, and then when you pull up, the V-clip opens up to an L, to like a bracket, and then you could tighten down from above. So it basically pinches, the bolt goes down, you pull up, the clip opens, and then you tighten it down from above. So that's what's holding this motor, or this bracket on the back here now. I drilled the holes, went ahead, put the anchor bolts in. We've got baby in place properly, and then we went ahead and just out of precaution, take a closer look, just went ahead and just sealed all of this off with silicone. So that's nice and sealed, waterproof. There should be no water getting in through any of these holes here or underneath the bracket in any type of way. So that has been an adventure of its own, just the placement of the trolling motor, going from the front to the back, finding out how to mount it on the back, sealing up everything, making everything waterproof. Now, you would think we're all done. Everything sounds good. We've got the motor on the back. Should be good to go. Not at all. As I quickly learned, with the motor in the back, the wires that the motor came with aren't that long. And if you can see, this is roughly where the motor is going to be positioned on it anyway. This wire doesn't go further than my seat, okay? Which meant that I had to have my battery back here where this camera is. The problem with having my battery back here is that now I have the weight of the motor, the battery, and myself all kind of on the back half of the kayak, which means that now, not as fast as when I had it in the front, but these back scupper plugs started filling up with water over time. There's too much weight all on the back of the kayak. We had the trolling motor on the back, the battery sitting right here behind the chair, and then myself right where the chair is, and the weight here is slowly allowing more water to drain into the kayak than to drain out. And we were sinking again. So it was devastating to realize that I had come so close and still had the same bullshit going on. So we went ahead and had to find a way to split up the weight. I need the battery in the front and I need the motor in the back, because both of them here are not going to work. I mean, I get maybe an hour of fishing, hour and a half, and then you're filling up with water, and no one wants to be having just the thought in your head that you're constantly sinking and you have to keep checking behind you, because at any point you might have too much water in your kayak to make it back to land, is not fucking fun. Especially with all the money I've put into this, all the electronics I have on here. It's the scariest fucking thing in the world. And I've been on this water several times where I'm essentially slowly sinking. And it's been such a fucking tragedy. But anyway, so we finally got it. And the way we did it is now had to do some electrical wiring, which I've never done before in my life. I'm gonna show you the battery terminals. These guys here. So it's positive, that's negative. And just so you guys can see, you know, you see those little two terminals, the two little eyelets. This is what was on the edge of this, the trolling motor. So it used to have these two on there. And I needed to find a way to cut them, splice them, and extend the wires so that I can have the trolling motor in the back and I can put the battery up in the front and split up the weight on this kayak to hopefully balance everything out. And this was another adventure all in itself. I don't know if you guys have ever spent thousands of dollars on electronics to then slice open and start with, but it is not fun whatsoever. This was probably the most beyond sinking, like on the open water. This is probably the most nerve-wracking thing I had to do, was to cut the power cords to my several $100 trolling motor and then rewire everything. But we got it. It took some time, it took some knowledge, some education, some videos to watch, but we essentially cut off the terminals on the back, spliced the wires, and if you look inside here, there's these little metal connectors. So splice the wires, feed them onto the metal connectors, crimp them on. I had to use heat shrink to seal waterproof the plug to the connectors, and then these waterproof adapters that I had to put over them that connect and have these waterproof caps. So we got some cable, and now we are able to plug these two in. Fucking do it right. And we have a waterproof end-to-end connection for electricity to be able to put my fucking battery in the front. I am so happy to finally get out on the water and try this out. And I'm gonna be honest with you, even if things don't work out today, if everything goes horrible, I'm okay with it. Because I've learned so much in this process and have done so many things that just the education alone was well worth it. But for my next kayak, my next small boat, whatever I'm doing, I know I now have the confidence to do any type of electrical work, any type of drilling, waterproofing, sealing, fixing holes, and it's been fun. So we're gonna take you guys along through the process. This next step is just getting everything started and seeing if baby floats, or seeing if we sink. One more cool little thing I want to show you guys before I zoom out and show you the whole setup is how we're able to get the trolling motor up and down. Let me back up and explain. So your trolling motor is hanging off the back of the kayak. Let's say you hit a shallow patch of water, or you're gonna bring it up into land. You don't want your propeller back here digging into the fucking dirt. You don't want to destroy your propeller. You don't want it banging up against rocks. And that's the whole point of having a kayak, is you can go a lot into smaller, shallower places than you would be able to with a bass boat or something like that. So one thing I did, because if you could see right now, the motor is completely horizontal. It's out of what, if it was in the water, it would be out of the water. And what I did is kind of rigged a pulley system in a sense. So we have this strap that I've tied to this bottom latch here. Now, this bottom latch, I'm gonna bring you closer with this camera. This bottom latch here is the locking mechanism for the entire trolling motor. As long as that's down, the trolling motor won't lift up or down vertically or flip down into the water. So I have a pulley here on my left side that goes to my chair. If I pull that pulley, it'll unlock and completely, boom, drop the motor fully into water. But what about getting it out of the water? Because if I just pull and unlock it while it's down, and I'll kind of show you guys, if it was down and in the water, locked into place, and I just went ahead and tugged on this, it's not going anywhere. And you can't pull it up from that. You'd have to pull really hard. So what I did is I made one strap that I have going to the lock and another one that I've tied on here. And we've used, this is so fucking ghetto, we've used a carabiner So if you can see that, we got a carabiner. We also have like a hose clamp, a very heavy duty car hose clamp. And we've locked those around the neck of the trolling motor. And then on the carabiner, I have some paracord that goes all the way up to the other side of my chair. So we've got on one side of the chair the lock, the other side of the chair is this cord. So once I unlock it, if it's in the water, I'm able to, from my chair, to pull on this cord and, let me get the lock first. So unlock and then pull with the other hand, and we lift it right out of the water. And this is hard with the camera in my hand, but as you can see, we could get the trolling motor fully up and out of the water, because clearly if I'm sitting up front, it's gonna be impossible to come to the back here to get this up out of the water anytime we go into shallow water. So now we have devised a system in which I'll be able to unlock and pull up the trolling motor. So I just wanted to show you guys that. Thought it was something cool. And honestly, if you've stuck with me this far throughout all this bullshit, I really appreciate you guys even checking out the channel and watching what we got here. So I think it's really the moment of truth at this time. It's a little bit cooler than I wanted it to be. It's a little bit overcast out here, and I felt it start drizzling. So let's get in the water and give it a test drive. And just fuck it at this point. Let's fucking send it, baby. Let's see what happens. All right, we're getting off the shore. Okay. Woo! This is the fun part. Time for that motor to drop, baby. Okay, we're moving so far. Woo! Oh my God, the nerves right now. We are out on the water. We are moving. Plug up these holes on the side, but so far so good, baby. So far so good. Looks like it's just enough to where it's not coming up. The one thing I forgot to grab, that I'm gonna go grab right now real quick, are the scupper plugs. So let's shut the motor off. Let's try our pulley system. Motor's out of the water. Pulley system works. Oh my goodness. It actually fucking works. We're in the weeds now. Get up out of the weeds. Let's get up out of the weeds. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna go get my scupper plugs. Paddle grips are too far in. Let's go get our scupper plugs. And I'm gonna give this a little bit more of a try, but so far, so fucking good. What's going on, y'all? I just wanted to close off this video with thanking everybody for watching, checking out all the crazy shit I've done to this kayak. It's been such an adventure, from buying the kayak on the first day, not even knowing how to get it home on the roof of my Nissan Altima, to having a fully electric motor that's remote controlled on the back. So this has been a journey, and I thank you guys so much for coming along on the process to kind of see the little things I've done. I wish I could have taken you on the journey while I was actually doing the modifications to the kayak, but it's been really fun. Today was the first day out on the water. Today was the first day fully testing it out with everything completely set up. And it was a lot of fun. I'm sorry I don't have footage of me being out on the water, but I did not want to risk sinking with camera equipment on my kayak. And I will give you guys an update. It didn't work out as planned. Every time and every step I've gone out here, and every step that I've made towards adjusting the last error has led to either a new one or just a realization that I'm doing way too fucking much for this cheap ass kayak. So essentially, even with the weight split up from front and back, I'm still taking on some water in the back through the scupper plugs. Water's filling in and not draining out fast enough. I put some through the scupper holes. I'm sorry. I put some scupper plugs in the back, and that kind of slows down how fast I'm sinking, but it's not fucking fun to sink at all. So we're gonna switch up the entire strategy. I'm just gonna go get a small like John boat skiff type of thing, and everything that I have for the kayak will still be applicable on the John boat. So I'll still be able to do the same things, and it's been a fun process. Like I said, this whole time, this whole way, this entire journey has been such a learning experience. All the different things that I've had to learn, all the kind of risks I've had to take. I'm still gonna have the kayak, and I'm still gonna use it for smaller adventures, so stay tuned for that. Whether it be like going out to Peanut Island, crazy little places and spots that you could kind of only get to with something smaller that doesn't have an engine dropped into the water. So we're gonna have fun, regardless of this whole thing. It's been such a journey and such an adventure, and I'm so happy to finally be able to bring the content to you and show you guys what I've been working on and trying to get ready for you. So, you know, we're gonna have tons of adventures, just going out to anything in the nature, anything that has to do with water. I'm in there, all up and down Florida, all throughout the East Coast, going up to DC, Virginia, New York, everywhere I could go, where I could get out, camp, be with nature, kayak, all that good stuff. We're gonna take you on those adventures. So it should be really fun. And I just wanna thank you guys one last time before I sign out. Please, please, please make sure you share the video with all your friends. Make sure you let them know, all my friends who see this, I appreciate the love and I appreciate the support. Always know a like, a share, a subscription is always gonna help me out, always gonna help out the channel and help us grow as a family, so I can get to do more things and show you guys more things as we move forward. So I hope you guys stay tuned. I hope my friends are ready for the ignorance that I bring, because I'm gonna take them along for some of these rides once we get going here. And we have tons more content, not just this type of stuff. I know a ton of people are always asking me, when's the gang cooking show coming back? It's coming back really soon. So we've got videos on that too. We've got, you know, gaming stuff. The gaming stuff is kind of go on the back burner. That's more just like fun that I have, like, you know, just regular fun. Whereas this, I feel like, is more engaging and more my passion, being outdoors and being in nature and doing all types of crazy new things that I haven't tried before. So stay tuned. We got a ton of stuff coming, and I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all and love y'all for watching. Peace.